Perhaps you think that you can just take those scriptures and compare them to the word of the Buddha and then decide whether it's right or wrong. But sometimes that's incredibly complicated because some of these scriptures, first of all, they're very long, they're very massive. It takes an enormous amount of learning to read through them. And secondly, they can be very complicated and very intricate. So I say it's difficult enough to get a good understanding of what the Buddha taught if we're not also going to get a good understanding of all these other things. So my view of these things is to put these other things to one side. They're not so important. And then focus on what we know as the Buddha Vajana, the word of the Buddha instead, and allow that to be the mainstay of our practice as Buddhists or people who are interested in Buddhism. And the same thing also goes for in the Chinese tradition, these enormous Chinese scriptures. You find all these things about bodhisattvas, about very different types of Buddhism from what we are used to in the Theravada Buddhist circles. And again, I say, and maybe some people would disagree with this, but in my opinion, leave those teachings aside. The Buddha didn't teach about bodhisattvas. The Buddha didn't teach about us becoming Buddhas. So there's no need for us to focus on that. If we do, we might just miss the point. And that is the danger of using the teachings of somebody else than the Buddha. It's very interesting. The Buddha actually said himself in the suttas, he said that in the future, one of the things that will lead to the decline of Buddhism is that people will start to listen to the teachings of what he called outsiders. Outsiders are the people outside of Buddhism. They were more interested in maybe in people who are maybe saints of other religions, people who are not Buddhists but have some smart things to say about certain things. And of course, it doesn't mean that everything they say is wrong. But the danger is always that you could be led a little bit astray by such teachings compared to what the Buddha said. The Buddha said people would be more interested in poets, because poets can often be good at giving sense to a beautiful sense of emotion, a beautiful sense of uplift. But again, it is possible that you might get led astray because you just don't know what these poets knew, what they were talking about.